Hello and welcome. This is going to be a reflected blockages reading for fire signs. You may be fire sign or your person may be the fire sign, but I'm going to pull these as if we're reading for your person, which you can then use to recognize how you are reflecting them and work on your own healing, which in turn they will reflect, especially if you are in a twin flame journey. But I I feel like it happens whether or not you're in a twin flame journey. You can only know by pursuing your own healing, and either way you win when you do that. Also, I want to point out, I think it's kind of funny, as I was getting ready to do this reading, there's a kind of a daycare nearby, and there's a lot of children out playing and making fun, wonderful children noises, and I think that's very fitting, especially for fire energy, which is Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, and especially Aries and Leo. They're both very youthful energies, so I don't know how that might apply. It might just be a good thing, or it might be good to reconnect with your inner child as best you can, do some sort of creative work. Alright, let's see what's going on with your person in terms of what is blocking your union with them, your connection, your friendship, your just general harmony and joy with them. You might be in contact with them or be in a no contact situation or have little to no communication. Generally, that's when we feel called to these videos, but you could also be living with them or have a different situation. But either way, oh, interesting. Alright, that's interesting how that wanted to come out. Okay, I'll take these 3 cards. Alright. We have the 8 of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, and the 9 of Cups reversed. And interesting enough, on the bottom, 2 of Cups in the shadow card position. So they're definitely thinking about union, communication, heart words. Also, I find it interesting, I did the water signs before this one, and there was a lot of wands, which is fire sign energy, and it's interesting that you now have a lot of cup energy. Alright, first let's look at these cards. So, interesting. Right off the bat, first thing that I notice is that the 8 of Cups person is walking towards the Knight of Pentacles, who is looking at, and slowly, this is like the slowest card in the deck, slowly making his way towards this 9 of Cups, which is, well, in upright, it's wish fulfillment, it's happiness, it's a bit of hedonism, it's good emotional connection. It's just before the 10 of Cups. And it can also be kind of another singles card, sort of like the 9 of Pentacles, but like this, it is dissatisfaction, feeling ungrateful, a situation that we thought was wish fulfillment manifested and is not, is instead like the greed part of hedonism and putting yourself first, but not in a healthy way, like not in a healthy self-care way. But yeah, so like both of these cards are facing this card, and if you look at it in a way, like this character is leaving, has left behind the, what has been built right there to, to take a spiritual journey, or just because maybe they felt like they could rebuild elsewhere, or maybe they thought that they could find their 9th cup somewhere else. And in fact, that makes much sense. So they left this behind to go find that 9th cup, which could have been another relationship, or it could have just been it could have been like leveling up, like they wanted to level up financially, likely. Like they want stability, they want a home, they want beautiful plantation and everything. And so they left to become this and hopefully level up to the King of Pentacles, but they ran into a problem, is that what they've manifested, likely because they were looking for external validation through money, and likely sex. That can be, this is also one of the naughty sex cards in it. And so it's likely that when they went to go get their ninth cup, they immediately thought, work, money. Let's get a money situation set up, and I'll align with some people that can help me with that. And I'll take small steps to get there, but I'll get there. I'll move slowly, but I'll get there. But they're starting to notice that no amount of small or big steps is getting them to this. It's only getting them to this, which means they can't, and they're thinking about going back to this, because at least here, they had it upright. They had 8 cups. They're in a much more stable position. They had the freedom to stay or to walk away, clearly. And that could have been a relationship with you. Sometimes this card can represent a lover returning, or partner returning. It can also represent them leaving and walking away. So it's that duality. And my attention's being called to the moon in this one, which is that it's confusion and intuition and emotions and faith and also hidden enemies. And, I'm kind of getting pulled into that, actually. The hidden enemies element. Sometimes we can get called away from the stability that we have. We can be lured out by, oh, but you could have this and you could have that, and I'll treat you this way, and it'll be so nice, and you should just come over here, and give me all your money, or put your money into this, invest in this thing. It will double and it will grow, and you'll be so rich, and you'll be taken care of, and you'll get this. I promise you, you'll get this. So then we walk away from the stability that we have, thinking that we're going to get this, but what we really get is this. And then it's like it even slows down the journey, because you're thinking, oh, did I put this in the wrong order? I did. It slows down the journey that they thought that they were taking, that was going to get to stability. This is one of the most stable in the deck. Yeah, and there is a lot of yellow in this too. Solar plexus energy, self-possession, being able to sustain oneself, that both the Aries and Leo energy, that feeling good enough as an individual. I want to look a little bit more at what left over in the rest of the deck, because I'm really feeling like what's blocking a lot of these fire sign partners, counterparts, consorts, however you want to apply it, is that they're still trying to turn this into this. But unfortunately, what they have is an unstable situation. So what they're getting is a lot of tower moments, and they're feeling less and less fulfilled, but they keep going back to it. And it seems like they know they need to go back. They need to go back to what they had. Maybe they're afraid they can't go back. Or maybe they're afraid of what people will think if they go back, especially if you've had union before. And or if the reason that it ended was because you told them that they needed to go out and find that ninth cup, because maybe they were stagnant with you and not building, and or blocking your ability to build. Hot topic on the top of the deck. 3 of Wands. So, in their subconscious, it's likely union with you, but it could be just wanting a healthy relationship for once. And if they've not really ever been single. They've not ever been this guy in a healthy way. Or Nine of Pentacles. They could be really thinking about how they really wish for like stable relationships, and romantically, familially, and with friends, business, all of that, even with themselves and with spirit. And that's in their subconscious that they want that. They really, really want that. But what's on the forefront of their mind is waiting for their ships to come in, waiting for what they've been trying to manifest to come in as they continue to get this. And even, I think, sometimes this can be that the ships come in, which is interesting because it could be that they might in many ways even be getting what they've been working for. They're just finding it's not making them very happy, which is unfortunately a hard lesson some of us have to learn about focusing on materialism and external validation. Wow. I split the deck to see what was in the middle. 10 of Cups. Look at that. And if we look at this, so look, this is funny. I'm going to put that guy down. So this, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to laugh. What's behind here? The 9 of Pentacles. Yeah. If you are single and you're, especially if you're divine feminine, and or an earth sign, this is you. They see you as what is behind their 10 of Cups, meaning that they see that you are, they're starting to see that they thought that that money, materialism would bring them this and then this, but they're starting to recognize that actually it's being with somebody who is emotionally stable and able to be single and to be on their own who brings this. Which is a hard lesson to learn sometimes when we put our store into people, but it's interesting though. So in terms of blockages, they left to try to find their 9th cup, but they put it, they thought that they needed to, they would find it in money, in houses, in work situations, in different relationships, things like that. But what they got was this. And so what's in their heart is this. Kind of that's what I kind of consider when I cut the deck, and it's like the heart of the matter. And let's see what's behind that. They want to be able to say that, but they're afraid to say that. Let's see. Let's look just a little bit more in here and see what this is. So underneath that 2 of Cups, Page of Swords reversed. 9 of Swords reversed. And so we have 2 9s already. 2 of the cycle. In fact, we saw the third. We had 3 9s. Okay, so behind that 9 of Swords, 8 of Wands, and the 6 of Cups, and the 10 of Wands, 6 of Swords, and the 6 of Wands. I'm going to stop here at the Hierophant. I'm really getting the sense that these fire sign individuals are, what's blocking them is that they've got some ideas about what a traditional relationship looks like, about what they feel like it means for them to be a man or a woman, and they're trying really hard to kind of hold up this like pompous facade of a situation that they're in that they thought would be higher love, higher commitment, that would help them feel like the Hierophant. They thought that they knew what they were doing, and they're recognizing that they don't, but they're having trouble. It's like, think about it, like, in fact, there's plenty of popes and religious leaders that, like, they might not have gotten into it to be greedy and lustful, but once you put on that crown and you got all these fancy bejeweled religious tools and robes, and it's comfortable, and you got people like worshiping you and stuff, and a lot of them, their ego takes over and they get enchanted by that. It's kind of it's funny if you think about it, the way that the Hierophant is set up is exactly the same way that the Devil card is set up, with the exception of the people in this card are staring up at the Hierophant and paying attention to him, and in the Devil card, the two people are not. They're looking, in fact, at you. Bless you. Yeah, I think they're recognizing that they need to heal, and that they've been avoiding doing that. It's time to release emotional baggage and any people that they've picked up that, they've only got so much resources and so many things that they can do, and especially if they're carrying everything by themselves, they need to put those burdens down. That's kind of the lesson in the 10 of Wands. In order to become the Page of Wands, the next step up from that cycle is you got to put down the other 9 wands. Or tie them up in a bundle that is secure, so you can like carry it on your shoulder and ask for some help. Be willing to step into feeling like a little bit more immature, because it's actually more mature. It's like learning to ask for help and accepting it and not taking it as like a self-worth hit. So that, in fact, I think, there you go, is for the fire signs, that is the main thing. Not taking a personal hit by asking for help, or admitting that you need help. And they are feeling, they are feeling that they're feeling some childhood wounds in that, but they're wanting to reconcile their past and reconcile with you, and they're wanting to feel good again. They're wanting to feel that goodness in love and communication, and they want to talk. They probably got some amount of traveling to do also. They might they might have to do some talking in order to free themselves from the situation that they jumped into that is not fulfilling, that they thought would be. And they're finding that even in that, they thought that they knew a lot more than they did, and they don't. And it's making them feel like a little kid again, and probably also triggering if they had childhood wounds where, they were told things like, you can do anything, you put your mind to it, why can't you do this? Or if you put as much energy into doing your homework or doing your chores as you did into avoiding it, or your art, or your friends, or etc., etc. Or even if they were told things like, everything's okay when nothing is okay, or that they were not allowed to express dissent or anger or emotions and things like that. What's going on right now is really triggering that. And even just allowing themselves to admit the truth that they are not happy, that they did not find that 9th cup, that they know they need to go back, to be able to admit that, and even to admit that they want this, that they're so dissatisfied, they'd be happy just to go back to this 2 of cups. Like, a lot of them are probably in the space of, just ready to just let it all go. The house, the cars, the money, all of it. I just want this. I want to feel supported. I want to feel safe. I want to be able to be vulnerable and share my feelings and know that I'm not going to be like the worst person in the world at the end of that. And I want to feel some spiritual connection in that. I want more in my relationship than just sex and money and drinking and drugs and stuff like that. So think on that, fire signs. Think about how you reflect that. Think about how anything, like, especially if they're not communicating. This can often indicate messages coming, but they're very slow. Think about, how does that trigger you? How does that bring things up for you? I know that I have some childhood wounds and things like that that are they get triggered by having to wait in that, because that was used as a way, it was thought it was teasing me, but it did create some trauma in there, and it's difficult in that, I developed anxious attachment through that. It's something that I am healing through my own twin flame journey, and I and my DM have fire sign placements too, so consider that. That's what this reading is about, is to help you, like, when you think about, oh yeah, I can see they are going through that, they do need to learn this, or they did have that childhood thing. Now take that and look at how you can reflect that and heal it. And as you do that, the energy between you will naturally pull them up. Especially if you remind yourself to have faith in that, faith in spirit, and faith in them, and faith in yourself. Don't be worried about leaving anybody behind. You're not gonna. They're gonna come with you. It might not always be like the perfect in sync timing, but they will. Just keep having faith in it. And in fact, in the moments that you feel like you have the least faith in it, that's the lesson. That is the lesson. And maybe that's what they need to learn too, in that. Keep having faith, especially when it's hard. Alright, if you have any specific questions, I leave my email in the description box below. I love your comments and thank you for your likes and subscribes, and I'll do Earth signs next.